Fantastic. So I'll call the meeting to order. Could I have attendance announced starting from my left?
Thomas here.
Becker here?
Starting
Here.
here. All right. Has everyone had a few minutes to review the minutes of our April 9th meeting?
The whole day to do it.
We did.
I think several days.
Anyone else, any comments, suggestions, additions, deletions to the minutes? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. First item on the agenda is my report, which will be very brief and is probably left better to John. John, do you have anything to report with respect to the pier permits?
Little, yeah. It's, the beer permit has been granted. Everything's set up now so that they can put the beer, they being, Van Tansy, in their own riparian zone. And, it'll be a pier approximately 200 feet long. I believe it's aluminum with slots in it so that the sun will get through to some degree. At the end will be a boarding platform. And, that's about it. So the, so far, it looks like the DNR has supported that, proposal, and they're behind it. And I think their attorney now had some, qualifiers they want taken care of, they've been taken care of, so I think that's it. So as far as I know, it should go through. We have to make sure that they, withdraw the permit they do have, for dredging in the, riparian zone of the neighbor. And, so that's our next step, but it should be a slam dunk. Once we get that, we will then work with the court to, cancel all the activity associated with the hearing that was gonna go on. And, that should be the end of it. This thing has been going on for, I think, between 4 and 5 years now, so it's hopefully in the home stretch.
Is Bucks really gonna follow through with cleaning up all that you mentioned, withdrawing, dredging?
Well, he doesn't want to go out, their attorney has to, but Buck is on top of it, yeah. In fact, I, talked to him today and he was quite happy over the whole thing. Any questions on that? That's it, it's
I
just
didn't
like
hear how long the pier is gonna be,
200 feet.
200 feet. That violates both the state and the local ordinance on pier length.
No, it doesn't. You can go out that far if it's shallow. And it's very shallow there. I mean, you're talking about a foot, less than 2 feet of water. And you can go out that far. And to the east of that property, to the southeast, there are 2 piers that are over 200 feet long. And, what we've been through, we checked all that stuff out, so it makes it okay.
I just happen to know what the ordinance is.
So they have or have not approved the dredging?
What's that?
DNR approved the dredging permit, the district appealed that approval, and, at that point, we had tried to reach out to the property owner before that, to see if there was an alternative that was acceptable to them. But yeah, the dredging permit was initially approved.
Permanent pier or? It's gonna be a permanent pier?
Translucent pier.
Yeah. Right.
It'll be permanent, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's, it's that shallow there, you're not gonna have a problem with the ice pushing it around.
chairman's report, any other, things to report on the dredging issue? Any other questions? Hearing none, should we move on to the, treasurer's report?
All right, I sent out, the details on their spending to, April 30th, and also the summary report. And it's early in the season, we haven't spent much money, we're running, pacing to our budget, with the exception of the water quality analysis. And we've entered into an agreement, John's negotiated an agreement with the USGS to spend $11,000 a year for water testing, and we had budgeted $8,000, so we'll be over budget this year on water testing. But other than that, everything is as expected, and it's early on.
Fantastic, thank you. Should we jump to, the lake monitoring report, as long as the water quality, was just mentioned? Are we getting any new services for our additional $3,000?
Yes, we are, we're getting one more, location we'll be monitoring, and I believe it's very close to Valerie's house. Since that's where we discovered, blue algae a number, I guess 2 years ago, right? And so we added that, and, maybe a little bit less activity at the, where John Stoss lives there, or where Fred Staff, that area, the channel there, because it's been very steady what we were getting there, and it's more or less raining stuff down the channel there. Anyway, we're getting a little bit more, but outside of that, testing is really not underway yet, water monitoring, but it will be shortly.
Is that 4 locations then?
What's that?
4 locations? Will it be tested in 4 locations?
Add one.
Yeah, it'll be, depends which testing we do the well testing, but test wells, that's,
Well, no, it's a water
and
monitor.
the water monitoring, I believe, is in 3 locations. Oh, it's 4, I guess, yeah.
Add one.
Yeah. At your house now, isn't it, Chris, isn't there one? At Bell's, and mine, and by Charles Ellis.
And what are the criteria that are tested at those locations? If you know, otherwise.
Actually, I'll have to look it up, I don't, there's quite a few that, categories that are tested, but I'm not sure they all are. Certainly, we're very strong on the, pH, very strong on the, to determine that, but that's pretty easy one. There's a few other ones too, this one, call it, they're okay.
Did we get a report this year from that water quality?
Yeah. That's it.
We're all looking at you, you're shuffling your papers. We were expecting a report to come out of that. Oh, sorry. Is there anything else that we should discuss on lake monitoring, or too early?
I think we have to start addressing the effect of wakeboard boats on the lake. Now, it doesn't have to be here, but I think it's something to keep in mind, and I think the burners will be turned up by a lot of people on that subject, so we gotta address it sooner or later.
I think we have to agendize that for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Certainly, I think we all saw the article in Texas Association's, spring newsletter. It seems like it's on the top of most people's minds. Is there anything in our lake monitoring or in our testing that would show, the difference in water clarity, for example, from a Sunday afternoon to a Thursday evening?
The subject of water clarity is a very confusing one, because there's so many factors involved. And you could, if you're right, you hit the weekend, it's gonna be more turbid, but to analyze it over time is Kevin, you used to do that, didn't you?
I did that for 12 years. And I did, every week. And I soon found out that the best time to do that was Wednesday or Thursday. Because by the time you go through a big weekend, the lake is pretty well riled up. To do safety discs, you drop down and you take a reading on that. Plus I did, algae and, dissolved oxygen tests. And the best results came in the latter part of the week. And the second disc thing is not difficult. Now, what happened to all that equipment? Ronnie took it, didn't he? Ron, Barron's, he was doing it.
They're still doing it, I think that's the Protective Association.
I don't know who's doing it. Nobody?
I don't know exactly what they're doing now.
I think the chairman's gonna reach out to the Protective Association and find out what the Protective Association is doing for water quality.
Keith Barron's.
Keith Barron, yeah.
That's an
Is that, Casca that's responsible now?
Pardon?
Is it Jennifer Casca? Is she the one responsible for doing that?
Casca?
Casca, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
The meeting Saturday.
I'll do that.
No, excuse me, I thought of this. Okay, to Mr. Ryan over here, you do not wanna do monitoring anywhere near where the harvester is operating. Cause they can't help but stir up the water. So, you pick your spots and your dates.
Okay,
My point is, it may not be that meaningful, that's the thing. Because it can change and it could be cloudy, but still may be okay. Or it can be clear and that can still be a problem, so it's not the best thing.
not the best, measure. Okay, can we jump back to, aquatic plant harvesting?
All right, Stu has put out the buoys as we are taking that possibility over the summer, and while he was doing this, the engine on the John boat failed again. And as we talked about last year, you might remember, we said the next time we had problems, we were going to replace the engine. So the engine is on order, and we're waiting for it to come in at this particular point. Other than that, we have basically no other thing at this time about harvesting, but I do have a statement to make to the board. LBMD Board, May 14th, 2024. I am submitting my resignation from the Lake Beulah Board effective the end of today's meeting. Stu will inform the DNR 5 days before they start harvesting as required by the harvesting permit. A final harvesting report is due by November 1st, 2024. As the DNR is no longer issuing a reminder as to when and what is to be included, I'm including last year's report as an example for whoever prepares the report for 2024. Next summer, 2025, will be the 5th year of LBMD's current harvesting permit. A new aquatic plant survey and a new rewrite of the aquatic plant management plan will be needed to apply for a new harvesting permit. Lake and Pond Solution Company has done this for the LNDD in the past, and I have included their letterhead and a list of other companies. Lastly, I do not expect, nor do I want any compensation for the time spent on the LBMD board for this year, 2024. Respectfully, Stan Alger. The keys in my report.
Well, thank you for your service all these years. Good, appreciate it.
17.
Ooh.
Thank you very much for your.
I think a good
work.
hand.
That's what I
Like
think.
5 to 10 minutes, I think.
5 to
right?
10 minutes, is
Yeah,
that what I said?
yeah. All right, well, we got some things to calendar. We do have a valid permit for this year, right? That's, I looked it up.
What's that?
I wanted to know what our aquatic plant harvest, but I was under the same understanding, we need to do a survey, right?
Yes, next summer.
Next summer or this summer?
Next summer will be fine. But you might wanna contact everybody, who's gonna replace me or whatever, but, there is a grant that can be applied for, and so whoever is taking the place will need to check with the DNR and what is necessary to take place. But, yeah, next summer is still covered, but in preparation so we can get the year for 26, we'll need to have it in place.
And it's my understanding, since you've resigned, Patrick can look for a replacement for you
Immediately.
immediately, and will fulfill, your term until, it's time to elect again, so we shouldn't skip a beat.
We'll do our best.
Hey, we always do.
All right. Well, are there any questions, for Commissioner, soon to be former Commissioner?
Stan, what are you gonna do all with your free time?
What?
Are you gonna take up golf again?
Enjoy. I'm getting too old for this.
All right, Walworth County is, not present, they speak with Commissioner Stacy, did not have a great deal to report. Commissioner Thomas?
The town board met last night at 6:30. There was one other peer permit that was reviewed and approved. It was the Klein permit, N 9463 East Shore Road. It's right next to former Dave Peterson's. It was announced at the board that the Beach Road Bridge has been approved with federal funding to be replaced, at a cost of $2.5 million. And it's, a $2.1 million construction, bid, and, a $430,000, design and, design permit cost. It's, the Wisconsin Department of Transportation is gearing up, to, ensure that the program schedule is balanced across a number of fiscal years. They're involved with the project. It was also announced that, there will be an inspection of all the culvert bridges in the township, mainly, the three big ones are East Shore Road, Beulah Heights, and Stringers Bridge. Those are all spans under 20 feet that fall within a definition of a culvert bridge. The local noise ordinance was amended last night. There's been discussion whether we needed to add decibel ratings to take subjective opinion away from the police, and make it more objective. But the chief of police worked with the town attorney to modify the wordsmithing of the current ordinance to take, right now it says a noise violation in the street, and street will be replaced with place, and that will cover both land and water. simplified it quite a bit. The ATV ordinance was also amended last night by the town. ATVs are now approved passage on all town and county roads, even if it's 55 miles an hour. There'll be the ATVs are still restricted to 45 miles an hour. There'll be a dual sign post speed limit, 55 for cars, and an ATV 45 miles per hour. So they have free reign over the town. And it was, the treasurer announced that the boat launch has already taken in $7,000 this year. That's my report.
Any questions for Commissioner Thomas?
Did they include the dockside culvert in the
Yeah, that's
review?
the shore.
Okay. And did they set a decibel rating for the noise? Or
No.
not?
No.
I feel subjective is satisfactory.
Did they feel that subjective was satisfactory?
Yeah, because it worked out between the police department and the judge, and then they feel that's good.
Police discretion then?
The chief feels like he can go to offending people and talk to them before issuing a citation.
Any other questions for Commissioner Thomas? How about our administrators? Any other report?
I don't have anything, but Lisa probably wants to talk to you about the newsletter. I know she's working on it.
I had sent emails to everyone asking for your input, so I'm ready.
I have a draft ready to go. Draft has a very short intro that forwards the minutes of the annual meeting for those in draft form. Is that all right with people? And notes that they're not approved unless they're approved at an annual meeting. It provides an update on the dredge issue, which seems like it could be finalized before the newsletter has to go out. Closes and wishes people a happy summer. Happy and safe summer. Were there any other articles for the newsletter?
No, I held off until I got through this pier dredging thing, and my excuses are gone now, so I have to step up.
Isn't there a report from the water quality people we can cut and paste?
Yeah.
That's gonna be $13,000.
And what other subject matter were we looking for?
I think I sent an email to everybody asking for specifics. I think I'm gonna ask you about the dam and the locks. Have you pulled another one? Or is it just
No,
one?
I've only removed shotballs one time.
One time, okay. I saw you over there a couple days ago,
I check it
looking at it.
regularly and whenever we have rainfall,
Can you help me put something together
Sure.
about that? Just the water level and what you're doing over there?
yep.
Okay, even if you wanna like talk into your phone and I can, take it and edit.
Sure.
Okay.
I gave this.
John, is there anything new with the town well pumping issue? No? Can you write something on that, or?
You mean the village or the?
I mean, the village, yes, I'm sorry.
No.
Do you have anything else on the admin side?
Greg, what were you gonna say?
Well, I just was gonna say that I cut and pasted the image from the website of the board site of the dam, and gave it to all the supervisors last night, just so they can be aware of my language, words when I talk about it. I noted the catwalk and the boards and the gauge by the side of the dam that Stu uses to make his decisions.
Really is a cool stuff over there.
It is. I think that, when we went ahead with our choice of spillways. We really wanted it to somewhat mirror the spillway we had before, and so much as that it was going to naturally regulate itself without everyone's input saying, it's high, we need to remove boards every time. It was really our interpretation that a design would be something that we could let naturally flow and maintain a proper level.
I
I think
love
that,
that, that's
yeah.
perfect for the newsletter.
Okay.
Like word for word.
Apparently I need to take a field trip to Dan.
It's very cool. Worth your time.
Fascinating. I guess, unless there are further questions, moving on to old business, I think we covered the old business, already with John's and I guess my combined report on dredging, property appeal. I don't believe we have any new business except to agendize the wake board, wake cert vote issue. But that would be for next meeting. We already discussed communications, with that, are there any public comments at this time? Knowing that we are not able to answer questions or respond to your comments.
I have
Yes.
2 questions. A couple weeks ago, I got a notice from Dunn Real Estate. She's representing the property on Highway J, the Double D's property. And in their notice, she said that the owners will have 88 years use of the waterfront property. I don't know where that came from, but I was the agent that represented the sanitary district, which purchased that property before it morphed into the management district. And the deal that we cut with the owner who bought the bar was that each year we would negotiate what his use was gonna be. And it said he could have 1 pier and 1 boat for the 2 owners, 1 boat each. There was no 88-year thing, I don't know where that came from. But I think you gotta give that some serious look, because that property was purchased, the waterfront was purchased, to protect us in case we lose the seminary. If we lose the seminary, we're done. I'm talking about harvesting, Stuart can tell you that. There is no other place where we could possibly run the harvesting. And that's not the greatest, but it's better than nothing. But I would think that each time that property sells, it starts over. Whoever is the new owner of the bar property has to come to the management district and work a deal for what they will allow him to do. And the final comment was, and if we have to move our equipment in here, all the stuff that we said you could have is gone. Because we need the space. So I don't know where that came from, if that was something that an earlier board put into effect or what, but it's not good. Not good at all.
I do think we have a reviewable lease agreement that we can look at to see what the terms and conditions are.
I'm sorry.
I think we have a reviewable lease agreement that we can review what the terms and conditions are.
That's the way it should be.
Alright, I think Mr. Strauss has a comment.
I'd like to thank Stan for 17 years of work with the board. He was here tracking through all the time and did a good job, so thank you. I don't know if anybody happened to catch it, but a couple days ago I posted on Lake Life, Lake Life, the May 2nd, 2024 Journal Sentinel article regarding wakeboard boats and a survey that the DNR did to people. And I would just like to read a couple of questions and outcome of what the questions were in case you guys didn't catch it. Question number 32 was asked if the public supported a statute to prohibit wakeboard boat ballast systems on Wisconsin lakes and rivers. And among Wisconsin residents who expressed an opinion, the vote was 10,000 to 2, yes, and 3,715 no. So in other words, 73% were in favor of prohibiting the ballast systems on the boats. I'm not against wakeboard boats, I'm not pro wakeboard boats, I don't have a dog in the fight, I'm just letting you know what the article said. I believe that people have a right to use the lake, but I also believe that there should be some strong education that goes along with it to make sure you don't operate those boats in less than 25 feet of water when you're under thrust with all that weight in there, because the bottom of the lake is being just mowed and destroyed, and that it's resulting in the fishing habitat being hampered, and they need some education to make sure that those boats get used in a proper manner. I'm not saying ban them, but just make sure you educate them somehow. Question number 43 was asked if a statute should be created to prohibit the wake-enhanced boating on lakes smaller than 1,500 acres and waters less than 20 feet deep and within 700 feet of shore and other lakes. It was 10,274 yes and 3,363 no. So in other words, 75% of the people were in favor of prohibiting those boats on lakes that were 1,500 acres and less. And the final one, question number 42, if ballast systems in boats should have a practical means of inspecting the system to confirm no water is retained after draining. The tally was 9,448 yes to 3,777 no. In other words, 71% of the people wanted to have a practical means of inspecting those boats. So that's all I got. I just thought I'd throw it out there. I know it'll probably be a hot topic at Saturday's LBPI meeting, but we'll see what happens.
Thank you. Now it's our favorite time for our calendars. We have a meeting for next meeting, when should that next meeting be? I think we do have a meeting for the next meeting.
Wait, are we done with public comments?
I have one more concern. One of our local landscape companies is applying herbicides to the edge of the water where people have rocks. Herbicides to kill the plants that grow up in the rocks. One of the herbicides they're using is Roundup. Another one is 2,4-D. 2,4-D is not a herbicide, as I tell you. It's a systemic, it's not a poison. And the third one that's all mixed together, I didn't get. I talked to the owner last year when he was doing it, next to my property. And he basically blew smoke in my face. And I told him what he was doing was wrong. We aren't even supposed to put fertilizer on our yards when a certain distance from the lake. Well, it's fast acting. I don't care how fast it is. When a wave comes up, washes over the rocks, it goes in the water. A week ago, guy shows up again, starts spraying. So I go out and I talk to him. And he gives me the same old routine. It's the company that's talking, the manufacturers. And he says, it's fast acting, blah, 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 blah. And I said, you know, this is wrong. So I left and then I started thinking, I went back to him, I said, if you filled your bathtub with water and sprayed that stuff in it, would you take a bath in it? Well, probably not. But I heard of some guy, he said, who drank a whole glass of this stuff. I said, is that right? Yeah. I said, I'd like to meet him. He said, well, he's dead. Now, no pun intended, but this is not a laughing matter at all.
What company is it?
Vericon. But I don't think they're alone. One of your drivers, your owner driver, pointed this out to me last summer. He saw it.
I think that we have a very extensive problem on the lake with the use of pesticides, fertilizers, and chemicals. It's very endemic, and it's something that will ultimately infiltrate our soils and our water table, and it could most certainly affect our water ecology.
Here's another catch. As I walked to my truck today, they post these little signs in the neighbor's yard saying, danger, keep pets off, blah, blah, blah. The sign is for pesticides, not herbicides, so they're not even posting it right.
Okay.
Can I have it on this way?
Seniors too?
Oh, everywhere. Yeah. True Green is running rampant and spraying so many chemicals on lawns along the lake, it's, I think it is an issue.
Okay, looks like we have one more public comment.
Yeah, real quick. Going back on that same subject of things getting into the lake, I don't know if any of you guys ever seen this picture here, but this is a picture out in front of Lindy's. And this is a storm sewer drain pipe that was put in front of Lindy's in 2006-ish. And there was no permits pulled on it, no documentation pulled on it, and it's in there. So basically, anything that comes down East Shore Road going north from Lindy's going north, is gonna come down and get washed right into the lake, right through this hole here. So, I agree we need to keep the stuff out of the lake, but how do you stop the town when they're running their own sewer lines, dumping them right into the water? And there's no permits on file at the county for this, because I did a open records request. So, we should protect the lake, but the landscapers are putting stuff in, the town's putting stuff in. Where do you draw the line? Just throwing it out there.
You see that?
I was there in 2006 and took that picture. And that goes right into the lake. And there's 6 catch basins on East Shore Road that feed this. 2 closed face ones and 4 open face ones. So, you gotta do something with the water, but you gotta be careful with it.
All right, I think we've got enough public comments. When should we entertain the next meeting?
Do you want one in June? The Tuesday dates would be June 4th, June 11th, June 18th, and June 25th.
11 is no good for me. You want me?
Okay. Do we have anything that pressing for agenda items? Could we go later in the month? Like the 18th or
18 sounds,
the 25th?
25th is fine.
I think the 25th is probably fine. Versus.
Or next meeting.
We rule out the 18th? Versus. Fine on the cell phone coverage.
Now, the problem if we go later than that is the next week is like July 4th week. So that probably wouldn't be good for a lot of folks because of July 4th activities.
When do we determine the annual meeting? Would it be at the next meeting?
Yeah, that's what I was
And
gonna
we need
do.
the timeframes for the notifications for the
Yep.
next for the paper and the riparian order?
Yeah,
We might run into a little time crunch there.